Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Excel tutorial by Team Slidescope. In this part, we are creating a simple hotel guest stays data exploratory analysis dashboard. And in this dashboard, you can see we have some KPIs like how many guests stayed, average nights stayed, average room fare given by them, average additional spend, average guest age, and then we have average room fare by their feedback rating, room fare by booking channel, we have average room fare by the room type. Then we have some charts that are not supported by pivot table like a map chart or a distribution plot or a histogram plot. So you will also learn how to add these kind of charts. Then we have these filters. If we select these filters, you can see these charts are all, you know, these are all dynamic also. Booking channel wise, direct, everything that you can see here. For example, KPIs are changing, feedback rating is changing. Histogram needs some correction, which we are going to do in the next part, but other charts are all dynamic. Here you can see we have the pivot tables. So we have created some rough pivot tables. From there we have selected the data, and I will guide you how you can create a histogram chart from dynamic data, how you can create a map chart from dynamic data. And this is the data set table that we have. Everything that you see here you will learn in this part. So let's get started and learn how to create a visualization like this. So this is how data set is given. As you can see, it's a CSV file. We will click on the last cell, and in this file we will click Control A and Control T. Control A to select all, Control T to create table. Check my table as headers, so this will convert it to table, and we can call it guest data. Now this table name will be important because when we will create a pivot table from it, it will be used. Now because this file is given as a CSV file, so I'm going to save it as an Excel file first, because an Excel file will support multiple sheets. So where we are saving it, we can click here and save it as Excel workbook and save in the same folder. Now you can see it is Excel file. Now we can click on our table somewhere and go to insert pivot table from table or range. So the table name that we created, guest data, that name will appear here, and it is asking choose where you want your pivot tables to be placed. I'm saying we want it in the new worksheet. So we will put it in the new worksheet. Here you can see we have pivot table. On this data set using Power BI, I created something although this like this, where I created an exploratory analysis dashboard where our KPIs were what was average room fare when these guests stayed, what was the average amount of nights they stayed in the hotel, average guest age, average additional charges that were put on them, and average rating. Then we created some graphs. So some student requested, can we create a dashboard on unusual kind of background? So that's what we did in Power BI. That tutorial is already there. Here we are going to keep it simple. Now what I usually do, I rename this sheet as pivot underscore table or pivot tables, because all pivot tables will be stored here. So first table, first pivot table, when it comes, you have multiple options here, and you can see we have KPIs. KPIs like average room fare, average night stayed, average guest age, average rating, and so on. So our first pivot table will be KPIs. So here when we have selected the table, we go to pivot table analyze. Here its name is given, so I'm going to call it KPIs. Now this pivot table name is KPIs. So we have numerical data like night stayed, room fare, additional spend, and guest age and total number of guests. So first we will select guest ID, and now it is showing in row labels. Then we will select night stayed. So you are seeing whatever we are selecting is either going in rows, values, it can go into columns also. So if we put everything like this, everything in values, they will appear like KPI numbers. So count of guest ID 350, that's what I take as a sample. And this is showing sum of nights stayed, like total number of nights stayed by these 350 people. We can quickly click here, value field setting, select it as average. So we can call it average nights stayed. Sorry, I wrong spelling here. So this is average nights stayed, and here we have count of guest ID. So here when identifier column is there, it will show count by default, or we can call it count of guests. That will be simple. So now we have two KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators, like what you want to indicate. Then what is average room fare, what is average additional spend, and what is average guest age. So here also value field setting average room fare. Now when we are selecting average night stayed, average room fare, you can see these values have so many decimal places. So like we want to round this. So to round these values to two decimal places, we will click on these values, value field setting, then number format. Here you will find option custom, where you can select this. Click OK. Now you can see. So similarly, you can do it in all values, whether it's average night stayed or average room fare there also. Because when we will use these KPIs in visuals, then these numbers will appear odd. So that's why we can go with these numbers in this format. Here it is showing sum of additional fare. So again, I'm just repeating the same thing. Average additional fare that was charged, and here also in value field setting, number format, custom, two decimal places. You can also go with one decimal place, and this is sum of guest age, so which is not meaningful, but average guest age or median guest age or standard deviation in guest age, these things can be selected. So we can say what is average guest age, 45.94. Now these KPIs are created. So first thing is to create your KPIs. Then if you want to add some filters, so when we have data set like this, we have 4 or 5 numbers, and we may have 4 or 5 categorical fields also, like what type of room they stayed in, booking channel, country, feedback rating. So we will go to insert here, and here you can see we have different options. So even in our pivot table analyze, we have insert slicer. So you can see pivot table that is selected is KPIs table, and we are in pivot table analyze tab. There we are inserting slicer. Now it is showing all those columns that are available for slicers. So we will select booking channel, country, feedback rating because it is also categorical, and room type. Click OK. So now our 4 filters will be created. If needed, we will modify them later. These are four filters that we have. So if you will click on these values, you will see that these values will be filtered. So these are the people who, these are total number of guests who have given feedback rating good. These are total number of people who booked through corporate booking channel. So you can use these filters. Room type, you can you can apply multiple also by selecting control, by pressing control. So this way you can apply these filters. In filters, you can have different options also. For example, dark. So I am going with this dark option for this case. Now I have this filter. Now it is important to create filters in your first pivot table, although we are going to create multiple pivot tables, because when we will do that, it will be easily able to copy this pivot table and create more visuals. Next is we will create another sheet and we will call it our dashboard. In this sheet, press all, Control A. We can go to view and we can disable grid lines. Now after disabling grid lines, we can select this, and here we have page layout, etc. So we have home tab where we can select some background. So we can go with this background. This is optional, but this is how you can create background for your canvas. Next we will go to insert, and in insert we are going to insert a shape for our heading, not this one. So I'm going to insert this shape for our heading, and this is the shape. So I'm going to use this much area. Let's say we are considering this is 100%. So you can see it is 100% written here. So here we can use this much space, and it is hotel guests stays data exploratory analysis. Later I will look for spelling, and this is part 1, because we are going to create this part 1 without any KPIs, without any calculated measures and all, but later we are going to create them using Power Pivot in Excel. Here we can go to home tab, we can vertically align it center, horizontally align it center, and then increase its font size. So I am going to use 32 font size. This is hotel guest stays data exploratory analysis. Then we have insert tab here, from where we can insert some shapes or icons. So we have some icons here. You can see accessibility, analytics, animals, etc. These icons are there. Some buildings are there. Let's say we are considering this building as a hotel building. So we can insert it and we can add it here. Or you can get these type of icons from Canva also, or any other tool. So this is hotel guest stays exploratory data analysis. Because this much is 100%, so obviously if we want to keep a small heading, we can do it like that as well. We can use these arrows to reduce its width and height, and heading size is okay. This particular area we use for filters. So this area can be used for filters, and we can go to our previous pivot table sheet and copy these filters and put them here. So you can see, and obviously we are using the same kind of font, same kind of theme, so we can use these filters like this. Obviously it has a scroll bar, so we can use the same height for our filters. Others have 4 values each, so we can use it like that, or we can place it like this. Later when we are going to, you know, we will hide ribbon. So when you are presenting data, when you are presenting your dashboard, you will hide ribbons and it will appear like this. So we can show tabs, and we can click here. So these settings can be done easily. So now coming back, so when we are customizing it, we are just doing it like that. When we will present it, we will present it in full screen. So you saw that we created those KPIs. So easy thing will be to show those KPI numbers here. We will again go to insert. We have some shapes. So here again we are going to use the same shape, or you can use rectangular also. I'm going with this curve shape, and here if you want, there is your shape fill. We can go with a lighter color shape fill or something like that as well, or something similar to this. So let's try that. Later I will change it if needed. So this is my shape. In this shape we have a heading. So you can also bring these headings dynamically, but I am just using headings as it is. So this is count of guests, and here also we will align it vertically center and sorry, horizontally center and vertically upwards, top align. We will select this, make it bold, use at least 14 pixels. So this is count of guests, and here we are going to insert a text box. So this text box will be added here, and in this text box we are going to get data from our pivot table. So in pivot table, count of guest is there in A4. So we will write a formula here equal to pivot underscore table and exclamation A4. So now you can see that number is here. So for this number we will place it here, and here you can see in fill we will say no fill. Okay, for this particular number, it is a dynamic number. We will use a KPI like 220 pixels and make it bold. So you can arrange it in center. If you want to increase because we have more space, so we can go with 24 also. And you can, if you want, you can use some font color also. This is font color. Let's use a dark blue color that is from our theme. Here is border color. So this is outline. We will say no outline. So this way our number will be created. If you want, with your numbers you can put some contextual icon also or image also. So we can go to icons. It is guests. So from here you can find out something related to users, which is down there. So you can see faces, education. So let me select and add there. I'm just going with this icon. Let's say family comes for visit. So this is count of guests. We can use this, and when you are using these icons, so here you have fill color. So for these icons also we can use the same type of color. So this becomes count of guests. Now we can copy this entire thing. So copy everything, control C and control V. So and similarly we can paste it 5 times because we have 5 KPIs. 3, 4, 5. So obviously I have to give more space here. So let me redo it. So this way you can align them. And now once you have created your KPIs row, you can bring other numbers. So for example, average nights stayed is in B4. So we can now just change these headings and do that. So average nights stayed, and here it is in B4. So this is a text. So here when you will write B4, styling will be gone, as you can see. So you can click here format painter and apply the styling once again. Similar, we will change these icons, but first let's do that. Then there is average room fare. So this is average room fare, and this will be in C4. So we will just write C4 and format, apply, enter. Then we have average additional spend. So average additional spend. If there is any spelling mistake, please correct it from your end. This will be in D4. So this is easiest way to copy data, and it will be dynamic. I will show you. So average room spend, average additional spend, format painter, apply. Decimal is not visible. We have given a space for 2 decimal places, so we should show that. I think for this also, yes. So make sure your numbers are properly visible. That's why we have kept bigger KPI shapes. And finally, we have average guest age, average guest age, or average age of guest, whatever, however you want to write it. And if this is D4, it will be E4. E4. So this way, from your KPIs table, you can easily create values like this, your KPIs like this. If you want, you can make your headings of different color. You can increase their font size because we have some space here. So for example, we can increase size at least 1 pixel each. Sorry for that. Now as we added, so we can also replace these icons. So in insert you will find a lot of these icons, or you can also, as I said, download from external sources like Canva, etc. So here we are going to add icons. I'm just going to use it. So for example, for night's state we can use this icon. So now I have added everything. Here you can see when we are in shape. So here is size and property, where we have text box, and for text box we have top margin, so we can reduce this top margin also. Similarly here also we can copy the same styling, or just quickly do it because there are only 5. If there are more, so you can copy the styling before formatting them. So this is how we can do, and similarly here. So everything that you see here, every shape, every text that you see here, so we have a lot of properties to format their style, so you can check them out as well. Sometimes brands will give you some kind of brand guidelines that you have to use these colors, you have to use these fonts, you cannot use any other font. So even in your slicers, for example, we have slicer settings, so you can right click and you can duplicate and modify it. You can create a new slicer style where you can modify what will be the format, like what will be the border, what will be the fill color of your slicers. We just did another video of fitness data where I explained in great detail how to customize your slicers, how to customize your background, etc. So you can check it out as well. It is one of the recent videos in Excel series. As I said, these numbers will be dynamic even though we have copied them. So for example, if we select excellent, if we select good, you can see these numbers are changing. So if you will apply multiple filters, then also these numbers will change. So this is something that is important for us, that when we are creating an interactive dashboard, it should be interactive. Every numbers should change. Now here we have this. So first thing we are going to do, we will copy this pivot table before creating more visuals, because our other visuals will be data to analyze. For example, if average room fare is our target field, so we will uncheck all of them first of all, and now we have pivot table 2. This is second pivot table. Here we will select one categorical data, one numerical data, and we will try to create a simple visualization, a bar chart or a pie chart. So for example, if we mostly do a combination. We use field from our filters along with some of our KPIs and create a visual. That's how we mostly do it. So for example, here it is given count of guests. So we can say what is feedback rating by number of guests. So how many guests have given average rating, how many guests have given an excellent rating. We can do that as well. Similarly, we can do it by average room fare also. So let's select that. So first is feedback rating. So let's select. So here we have feedback rating. So we have selected this. So it has automatically grouped these columns, group these values in this column. And then if we select average room fare, so room fare, where is that? Yeah, sorry, room fare. So here we will select average room fare, and obviously number format same as we did. So this is average room fare by different ratings, different feedback ratings. So this is something that we can see here. So here this will be feedback rating. So average room fare by feedback rating. And now we can select this. We can go to insert. We have pivot chart. In pivot chart, you will be able to see what kind of chart can we use here. So we can go with something like this, a 3D stack chart. So we are going to use them. And here we will just use name as feedback rating. So here it is average room fare by feedback rating. This kind of chart can be done. We can make it bold and we can use its fill color also, like sorry, font color like this. So this is average feedback rating. If you want, you can go with different styles also. For example, like this also, like this also. We have different setting. For example, this one is also there. So we can go with this, and we can right click. Pivot chart options are there, or format. I will just go with format pivot chart. So in format chart area, we have different chart options like size and properties. We have this. I want to see border. Yes, in border we have rounded corners. So we can go with this kind of rounded corner. So now this is one chart. Okay, and we have this kind of data. So we can increase its height. We can So we can go with something like this. And now once we have copied this, so Control C, you can paste it here in this main area. So we have this. Let's say we are going to put three charts in one row. So we can use it like this. Like we will try to put three of them here. And now you can see we have not enough space, so we can reduce its heading to 12 pixel, and we can use area where it is properly visible. You can also click here. This is fill color. So we can go with some fill color that is for entire chart actually. So for this entire chart we have color options, and when we right click we have fill option. So we can go with some color that is as per our theme. So for example, like this or this. So whatever suits your requirement, you can select that color and use it in your chart. So this way we can arrange it. And here you can see whatever heading will be written here, that will come dynamically here, that average of room fare. So you can always change this. So you can change it dynamically, average room fare, and this will appear here also. So now you can adjust your headings in a proper way. Now we have created one such chart, and we are going to create others also. So once it is created, if you want, I'm just using a small size here. So why have we copied uh, a pivot table? We have copied a pivot table because once you will copy, and if you see here in pivot table analyze, you will see some slices, and if you actually see this pivot table, you will see filter connections. So you will be able to see that all these filter connections are already applied. So this is result of copy. We can insert a new pivot table also very easily, like we can click somewhere, insert a new pivot table, but don't do that because then you have to apply filter connection separately. If you don't want any filter connection, for example, if I click Brazil, filters will be applied. If I want to compare two countries, filters will be applied. So if you don't want to apply any filter connection, so click on this pivot table analyze filter connections and just uncheck that option. Suppose I don't want country filter, so I will just uncheck that. Sorry for noise. Now I will copy it once again and paste it here. So once you will copy it, now we will go with the second chart, which is booking channel wise. So now it will be simple, and you are seeing that in our pivot table we are not now seeing the field list. So we can click on field list. So in this table where we are making the changes, so instead of feedback rating, I will go with booking channel. So here I will just change it to booking channel. So here also we can go with a bar chart or any other available chart. So here is pivot table. So here we have column. Let's go with a bar. So as we selected a 3D option, so we can go with another 3D clustered bar option here also and click OK. So you can see how it is showing that here we have booking channel, here we have average room fare, everything is given. So I can click on chart area, increase it height and width and arrange it properly. And we have color also, different type of colors. So if I simply copy this and paste it here, so you can see we have some difference. So we have to use the same styling. So at least to copy font style and all, we can copy format painter and apply it here and then adjust its sizing and all. We have now we have some space left, so we can increase, and we have some space, so obviously we can use this area. Whatever background colors we use are mostly there in our palette. So first we will select the background, the dark background option as we selected. Then here in fill colors, so we will use the same fill color as we used for other chart. You can see. Then we will select on these bars, and for these bars we are going to use the same kind of fill color like this. And finally, if you want, so you can click here format chart area, where I just use rounded corners. You can go with border color, you can go with transparency, width, compound type, etc. There are many settings, like you can spend hours and hours practicing this kind of graph, but we are just going with this. So now we have two charts with us and it is showing total. So we will just change the heading. This will be average room fare by booking channel. So why are we doing this? This is important. Like obviously we are learning how to design things. So why are we doing this? See, we are doing this because if we are considering that average room fare is our target field and company wants more profit from it, so to get more profit they want to analyze how can they get more and more average room fare from these customers. So you can see that unluckily people who have given poor rating, they have paid highest room fare. Then at second number we have excellent. Similarly here in this case, people who have booked rooms by walk-in booking channel, so their average value is more. Then people who have directly booked, their value is more, but corporate people are paying less. So that's how you will be able to understand what is your ideal buyer persona, what is your ideal guest, who is likely to pay more, who is likely to give you more rating. You can identify problems. Why are people not giving good ratings? People who have given poor rating, they have obviously paid higher fare. So you can give some kind of feedback survey, some kind of form. You must have seen in hotels a survey form is there to rate you, or some kind. Obviously, when booking is online, people can give you online ratings also. So those ratings are very important. They're not just there so that you can just check them. They are there so that you can check them, and you can also analyze that data. You can analyze that data and work on your services. So that's why it is important. So that's what it is showing us. So that's why we are using these categorical fields. So this is our second categorical field, which is booking channel wise average room fare. We will again copy this. That is room type. Like if they have, obviously in room type something like deluxe double will have higher average fare, but let's check. So here again we will check that. Go to pivot table, analyze field list, and here we have booking channel, so we will select room type. Now we also have the same data, room type. So here you can see in deluxe room average fare is, actually it is higher in single. So that's what is given here. So now we will create another similar kind of chart for this pivot table also. So now with this pivot table also we have to create a chart. So we'll click on it. We'll insert, go to pivot chart. Here pie chart is available. So in pie chart also we have this 3D kind of look. So we'll go with it. Choose dark color. So in every chart you have this dark background, and here now I will simply copy it. First of all, I will make sure at least fonts and other things are in sync. So we will use at least width and height equal to visuals that are in first row. So I will use equal width, and I will use it like this. Okay, now we have this pivot area. We have this chart area which we can increase or reduce. What is this showing? That, and let me use, yeah. It is showing that in case of deluxe it is this, then in double, then we have this single, so it is higher, then we have suite. So this way it is arranged. Then we have this heading, so we will just write it like average room fare by room type, and we are using 14 pixel here, oh sorry, 12 pixel here. So I don't think it is 12. Yeah, so we are using 12 pixel here, so it will be same like that. And now we just have to change its background. So we have to actually select this chart, fill, same color. If you want, you can adjust color of these slices also. So you can fill, so you have more fill colors available here. And even here also, for example, let me give you another example. Here also we have color. So you want colorful, you want colors like this, whatever color palette like this, it will have colors from only one shade, or this. Okay, so you want monochromatic, you can select like this, or if you want colorful, you can select from these palettes. So we are just going with this colorful palette. And finally I will just right click pivot chart options, not pivot chart format actually. So where we are selecting border, rounded corner. So this way our first row is created and we have these charts. So obviously we can adjust proper width between them, you know, like from here you can adjust height. In something like Power BI we have guidelines so we can easily see these kind of arrangements, but here we have to do it more on our assumption. So now it is okay. So this is how first row is looking, and now we will try to add the second row. Now similarly we want to do it by country. So we will copy it, paste it here, and quickly go to pivot table, analyze, field list, and here we will select country. So we are not going to select two at this time. So we'll just reduce room type. So this is country wise. Sorry. Here if you actually click you will go to details, but we are not clicking that. So here we have selected country and we can go to insert. You also see map chart, but it is saying you can't create this type of chart data inside pivot table. So that's why I'm selecting pivot chart. Even when I select map, you can see it is not showing. So directly you can obviously show that, but right now you cannot. So now as you can see, I have simply created another visual, and this time with country as one field. And you saw that if we are going to add a map chart like this, so here it is not supporting, you cannot insert it directly. So what we are going to do, what if I copy this and paste it here? Okay, so I have copied this and pasted it here, or we can simply do paste values. So this is also one thing. So if we are copying this and pasting values, that means we are not using it directly, but when we are pressing Control V, so then it comes like this. So I'm just pasting values, and if we select this data and we go to insert and try to insert a field map, so now it is this. So let me select this, and as soon as I select country, you can see from Bing map it is showing me a map data like this. But problem is if I will apply filters, it is not going to work, and that's the problem with these external charts that are not directly supported by pivot table. So what can I do? Then I will click it, and there is an option of select data where you can see the chart data range is given. What if I select this now? Okay, so now when I have selected this and click OK, and now if I select a country, now it works. So that is how you can create a customizable filterable pivot chart in your customizable filterable map chart from a pivot table in Excel. And now you can customize this chart as per your requirement. For example, if we want, we can go with chart like this with a dark background. Obviously in our case we are going with these kind of fill colors, so I will go with this fill color, and chart title will be country wise average room fare, and then we will place it in our main dashboard wherever it is properly, like wherever it is where you are likely to use. So that's how you can do that, and if you apply filters, everything will be applied here. And obviously I'm going to arrange it like this. Its height and width will be arranged. So let me use this. And here now you can use it like a normal area. Like if we go to format chart, I will have border. So I want to use a rounded corner. And for fonts and everything, we can copy format painter and apply here. So obviously, because this is not a pivot chart, so we have to do some arrangements. So for example, here font color will be different. So we can use font color like this. Font size is different, so we can use like this. Even for our legends, here also if you go to font, there you have font color. So for legend values, we can select a font color. This legend is showing that lowest fare is in countries with a very light shade of blue and higher in countries with dark shade of blue. So here you can see, for example, here is dark. So this is how you can modify your chart. In some charts, round shape option is not available. So what you have to do is you probably have to use some other shape and place it on it. That is something that we are going to cover in another part. Now, after country, so we have created these visuals where we have this data. So now we have selected country wise, room type wise, booking channel wise, feedback rating wise, we have shown the data. And after copying, we can get rid of this as well. So we have the data and you will see it will make no effect here. So now here you can see a chart that looks like a bar chart, but actually it's a histogram plot. So if you select any table, let's say if I select this data from pivot table and I click on histogram, so you cannot create this type of chart with pivot table data, but you can see I have done that. And here you can see different values also. So obviously we can see at least a table is created. How to do that? For that there is a reverse thing you can do, that first click anywhere outside and click on histogram and insert it. Then right click and select data. So here it is asking for chart data range. So we can select a data range. I'm just showing you. I'm selecting from B47 to B71. You can see dynamically. If you'll click OK, it will select and it will automatically show values between that range. So when data of something like age is given, that's what we do. We create a histogram to see how age distribution is given in our data set. So here when we have created the pivot table, we have selected guest ID and guest age, because when you will select that, then only all values will be visible. And here in select data, I have selected range from 47 to 396 because that is what is happening, like we have all the values. So when you will select that range, it will show you data like this. What is this data showing us? That most people are from age group 42.9 to 51.2. There are more than 60 people, actually 63 people in this age group. Then in age group 18 to 26, there are 61 people. This number of people are in this. And here also we can select a different type of border like this, where we can actually go and select our fill color. I guess this fill color we are using. And for our charts, we can use a fill color which we are using from our theme. So this way we can use this and we can go to dashboard, and here also we can paste it like that, and here you can see we distribution is given, and here we can see age distribution of guests in hotel, and here are hotels actually, because this is how it is given. So I will change heading later, but this is something we can give 12 pixel as font size. So now we have the data. So basically what we are seeing here is, even though charts like a map chart or a histogram chart are not supported directly by pivot table, still we can create them, and that is what we can see here. Now we have seen, till now we have seen one versus one data, like one categorical field and one numerical field. But let's say we want to show two numerical data with one field. For example, I'm just taking an example that country wise average room fare and something else. So if I select this, although I used a bar chart, so I have pasted this table here, and this is our table. So here we have country room fare, and here let's say we want to see something else, like for this room fare how many nights have they stayed. Okay, if they are paying an average of this, what is the sum of nights stayed, or what is the average of nights stayed. So here also we will select average and select average nights stayed, and obviously you can see number format is a problem here, so I'll just go with this number format. Now once we have this data, so we have a combo kind of data. So if you will go to insert pivot chart, here we have combo charts, so you can see some combo options available. Like in this case you can create a clustered versus line. So your average room fare will be given by this, and your average nights stayed will be given by this orange chart. Or you can do it like that, or you can change, like do you want your room fare to be like this and your average night stayed to be a bar chart, so you can show it like that also. So this is how you can represent these kind of examples, and I'm just going to show. So this is how you can create a combo chart. Here also we have different options like this, so I can go with that. We, because this is a pivot chart, so we have different format options available now, and you can see rounded corner thing is available, but because in the third row we are not using rounded corner, so because for other charts it's a long process, so I'm not using that. I'm using the same background color. We can click here and we can select fill, for example for other charts. Once we have selected this, so we can select this as well. Now we can copy and we can paste here. So now we have the data and we can arrange it. This chart is simply showing average room fare and average night stayed per country. So we can increase its size. So we can increase legend size, and we can then select main chart area and increase its width. So this way we have the data. Let's select 100%, and now we have the chart. So this is how we can create a simple dashboard for us. And in this dashboard you can see we have added different type of visualizations. Some charts that are not supported are also here. Try this from your end and let us know in the comment section. If you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, any kind of appreciation, please feel free to give us your feedback in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day.